Okay, we are going to get started with one of our February Club Q kits, and it is called Love This Life. So this kit can really be used for anything, not necessarily just an I love you page. It can be used for family. Basically any photos could fit into this particular kit. And especially with these colors, I love these kind of muted, darker tones, a little bit antique looking. Feel free to add any colors you want with your Powder Puff chalking inks. The ones we suggest are aqua and feather gray. But if you want to add a little darker teal, you can always do like Baja blue or even more green like jade. There's barnboard that is like a reddish brown that would work with this. Manzanita would be pretty with this. Berry jam. Berry jam is one of our older ones. Or if you want it more purpley, you could do huckleberry even. So there's lots of options. We are going to go ahead and get started. And I will apologize right now. I am getting over a cold and I have a really scratchy voice. So bear with me. Yesterday I didn't have a voice at all. So I waited till today and getting back on track here. Okay, so as always, I am going to do the cutting diagrams first. That way we can get our trimmer out of the way. I'm just going to set this next to my trimmer so I can see what needs to be cut. There are a few other things that need to be cut, like your little quote sheet. You can cut these out. This actually comes out of the same quote sheet. These pieces here, you'll want to choose 3 or 4 words that you want to use, but we can do that after we have the page completely together. But these do need to be cut out, and at any point you can pause the video and get started again whenever it's convenient for you. A couple things I want to run by you. This laser here, we are going to use these negative pieces here. So once you punch these out, we will use all of these pieces. I just want to make sure you don't throw this away as kind of a negative piece, because we will use that as a photo backer. And a lot of times in any of our Quick Quotes classes, we tell you to hang on to all the pieces, because there's a lot of times that we actually use the negatives. Like actually this one would be really nice on a page. We didn't use it in this one, but you could save that for another time if you wanted to. So yeah, hang on to the pieces. I have most of my pieces punched out except for this page, because I just wanted to show you that we were using that one part. And then I just put those all in the same pile so we keep the colors all together so you know what you're looking for when you go to find it. The next piece that needs cut out is this banner piece. You can do it on your trimmer or with scissors and fussy cut if you would like. I'm going to do the straight edges on my trimmer and then pick it up and do the little, I call them dove's tails, the little banner pieces at the end with my scissors. And if you don't get this spot on, no worries. If there's a little white, it's hard to see, so if there's a little white left over, don't worry, you can just chalk it up with maybe a little light gray or something, and you'll never know that that line is there. And I turn it and trim this with my scissors. And I did cut it off a little bit there, but I'm going to just chop that up. And I'm actually going to use, this is jade. Mine's a little messed up. I've used it with other colors and stuff, but I'm using jade. And I don't have a red over here. I think I'll stick with jade. I might use a little bit of this orange and mix it in if I have the opportunity here. Okay, so we got that. Set that to the side. Now, this piece, we are going to be using this outside piece, but we are going to cut a 5 by 7 or 5.5 by 7.5 out of the middle. So what you want to do is just put this in your trimmer and maybe put it into about, let's see, 8 inches. And I'm just going to cut a chunk out of the center here. And we just need to make sure that it actually goes. So I'm starting here at 1. No, let's see. I'm going to start here at 2. So I put this into 8. And I'm going to start at 2, and I'm going to go down 5.5. So I'm just counting this so I can tell you easily before you cut anything. Just watch me do this, and then you can pause and do your own, because you don't want to get it too close to the edge, because you can see here this is going to be the outside piece, but you have a lot to work with in the middle, because we just need a 5.5 by 7.5 out of the center of this, and then this is the only thing that shows. So what I'm going to do, I put it in to 8 inches, and I'm cutting, and I'm going to start at 1.5 up here. Okay, so at 1.5, and we're going to go down, and we'll do the 7.5 first. So you go down to 2.5, that's 1 inch, 3.5, 2 inches, 4.5, 3 inches, 5.5, 4 inches, 5 inches, 6, 7.5. Okay? Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this, and I'm going to start right here at this corner, and I'm going to go down 5.5. So get that lined up in there right at that corner, and then I'm starting at the 2, going down 5.5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.5. And then I'm going to turn it and start at that corner. Get it lined up so it's right at that where I stopped. And I'm going to go down 7.5. So we're starting at the 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.5. And then these should basically line up here. We're going to do 5.5 again. We'll start at one of these lines at the very end. That lined up with your, however it works best for you. This is a little tricky, but you just need a 5.5 and a 7.5 out of the center of this. So we're starting at 2.5, right at that line, the end of the 7.5 here, and we're going to go 5.5. So 1, 2, and you don't really have to count this one because you basically just need to go to this line. Okay? So 5.5, 7.5 out of the center. And then you have plenty, it doesn't matter if this is off because this is all going to be covered except for that very edge. Okay? So go ahead and pause it and take a minute to do that. I'm going to set these aside. And when you are ready, we are going to do this diagram here. So this is your script paper, and we're going to cut out this 4 3/4 by 6 3/4. So we need to go 4 3/4, We're just going to do a cut all the way up because we don't use that space down there anyway. And then we're going to turn it and do 6 3/4. This is leftover piece, so I'd move that out of the way so you don't get it mixed in. You can always use it for something else. So 4 3/4 by 6 3/4. Your piece that's left over, we are going to, so we need a 5 3/4 by 4. So we're going to trim this piece down to 5 3/4. Left over. Then we're going to turn it this way and do 4, and then 4 again. So 4, 4 again. And then out of this, we are going to do a 2 1/2 by 3 1/4, 2 3/4 by 3 3/4. So we'll turn it this way and do what's the easiest here? We're going to do a 2 1/2 cut. 2 1/2. And we'll turn it and do 3 1/4. Okay, so you have a 2 1/2 by 3 1/4. This leftover piece, we are going to do 2 3/4. Turn it by 3 3/4. Okay, so we have all the hard cutting out of the way. We have all these pieces ready to go. And we are going to get started on the layout. So grab your background paper. It's the colorful wood background papers. And we'll get 2 of them set up here. Make sure you can see both of those. I'm going to trim this a little crooked at the bottom, but I'm just going to cover it up with some chalk ink. Okay, so we are actually going to do page 2 first. And this piece that you cut the center out of, we are going to center that onto our page. If you want to chalk up edges of things as you go right ahead. I'm going to use a little bit of jade and just do the edges just a little bit to brighten it up a little bit. If you want to have it more of an antique look, you can always use amaretto, mocha, any of the grays, like the coal miner. That would look really nice with this. I'm brightening mine up a little bit with a brighter color, but it's totally up to you. I'm just going to do, I love the other side of this paper too. This was our holiday line. I love that you can use this side for anything. Okay, so center that. And then we have the gray piece that was pre-cut for you. It's going to go right on top of that. So see, just an edge shows. And again, chalk things up if you want to. Oh, my glue's almost running out. I love this Barely Art glue though. Don't need a lot. It's easy to use on the smaller, more intricate pieces. So center that. And I'm going to chalk up the edges of this little banner just a little bit, adding some color. And like I said, I have a little white edge there. You can always cover that up with a little chalk. Nobody will know the difference. Most of this is covered up with photo mats anyway. Okay, and then this goes about 1/4 inch from the gray edge of the paper. Oh, I'm sorry. It doesn't go 1/4 inch. And actually, you might want to set this up before so you have the spacing right before you glue things down. It needs to go an inch, about an inch in, because your 3 squares go about 1/4 of an inch. You want them centered over this. This will go to the side. I'm sorry if you hear my son in the background. We're home today with sick kids, which is always fun. Okay, so the 2, oops, let's see. You have 2, not the larger one, but 2 this size. I think they're 4 by 5 3/4, something like that. There is a burgundy photo mat for each one of these. Oops, this is the wrong one. There you go. So go ahead and line those up. And just remember that you need a little space for your quote in the middle there. So go ahead and bring that down until you have it where you have space to put your green banner, your quote in the middle. These I'm going to chalk up a little bit. These go right on top. You center those over the burgundy 4 by 6 pieces. Oops. And if you just want to do this quick without chalking, that's fine too. It looks nice either way. Get these glued down. And then in the middle of these 2 pieces, is your green banner and your quote that you cut out with the little banner ends. This gets centered. This guy here, I'm going to chalk it up just a little bit too. Yeah, I sure hope this winter sickness season is over soon. So many kids out of school, and I volunteer at the school, so I of course came home with it as well. So fun. But we did finally get our first snow day here in Washington, and the kids got to stay home, and it just happened to be on Valentine's Day and my son's birthday. So we had a really fun winter day, a snow day at home, and the kids got to build snowmen and a fort, and they stayed outside all day having snowball fights until the snow melted, and they literally had no snow to have any more snowball fights. They had to start taking from their snowman. It's pretty funny to watch out the window. It's a good day. Okay, so we have, what you want to do is probably get your photos on here first, but it's totally up to you. You can put your buttons on and then cut your photo to fit smaller. Some people also, instead of putting pictures in these, some people like to put quotes or little journaling pieces. That's totally up to you. But for now, I'm just going to put the buttons on. What I love about this glue too is that it dries clear, so you'll never be able to see that through there. Okay, so page 2 is complete. On page 1, we will start with layering our photo mats. So you have a large gray one, a smaller aqua colored one, and the smaller burgundy is the one that has a hole in the center. And then you have your last piece of script that goes right over the top of that. I'm going to add some color too. For the amount of snow that we did get, I'm sure for those of you living in the Midwest and where there's big winter seasons, it was probably nothing. You probably wouldn't even have missed school for it. But we got out of school. We're not as prepared around here. We have very few actual snow days here in Washington. We have lots of mountains and ski resorts, but where we live, we don't get snow all that often. Super exciting when we do. Okay, and before you glue that down, you have a little banner piece that you could put in here. And what I would suggest on this page is to kind of get things lined up like you want them before you glue them down, so you know where you want your pictures and your photos. So the smaller aqua piece has a script piece that goes over the top. I'm just checking here to make sure that I know. Okay, perfect. And then there is a brad. If you have a paper piercer, just poke small holes in the corner there. And there's a brad that goes in each corner. I forgot to chalk these before I got them on here, so I'm just going to do the whole thing, which will still be pretty. And then you line these up however it works for you. Then the last piece is the hearts. So go ahead and we can get this piece put together. I am going to glue these other pieces down. So once you know where you want everything, you can go ahead and glue it down. And remember, if you don't have your pictures in here yet, you don't want to glue over top of this. Actually, I'm going to wipe that little piece off because you want to be able to slide your picture in there. Okay. And once you have that down, we will get started on the hearts. And I kind of have this overlapping just a little bit. You can go ahead and glue down the white part. And then the pieces that we will be using. Oh, actually, you know what? Hang on a second here. This piece, I'm going to take the center out. You can save this and use it for something else, or you can put it on another place if you want. But this one heart has a script heart that fits right in the middle of it. So I have this placed right underneath here so you can see it. This is the first piece that I'm going to be gluing down. These little pieces are exactly why I love this glue. We have it on our website. It's called Barely Art Glue. It works so good on these little pieces and it dries quickly. I'm going to chop this one up a little bit. And this goes right inside. This little script piece goes right inside that heart. Okay? Then once you have that down, you can go ahead and glue down your white hearts. I'm just going to do a few little dots here and there. You don't have to have the entire thing glued down. Once it gets in your page protector, it will lay flat. And again, you want to be able to slide your photo in here, so don't glue that edge there. And from there, we have the gray one that glues right on top of that, so it leaves just a little white border. If you want to chalk any of these up just a little before you put them on, you can. I did just a few edges. Okay. So you have just a little bit of a white edge. You have a burgundy piece that goes in here. Another burgundy piece that goes in the other heart. Small burgundy. And we have a white script heart that will go in. I think that's all the burgundy ones. Every time I say burgundy, I think of the movie Anchorman with Ron Burgundy. I don't know if you've seen that, but it's hilarious. And you should have one teal colored, which will go in here. And a tiny little dot. And also, I meant to mention this beforehand, you can use these for frames too. If you don't want to put these colors inside here, you can cut, you can use these for a pattern and cut pictures to go in there if you have more photos to add to this page. That's up to you. And then you have a few things left over, like this negative die cut. This would be really cute on another page. You could actually use this as a frame, each of them as a frame. You could use this as a pattern. You could use this small one as a stencil. Let's see what else we have. Oh, there's also this one. You could use this as a stencil if you wanted. But I saved those pieces just in case I use them for something else. But just like that, it is complete. I love these colors. I hope you enjoy it. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't get all the quotes on there. The only other step that you have, you could put this on as a square if you want to, or you can fussy cut it out with the little brackets here around. You could fussy cut that. And then you just choose 3 quotes. This is what I like about this one, because then you can kind of tailor it to what you want. Any of these quotes would look really nice on here. I have 3 on here. It says beautiful moments, happy place, magic in the air. And you just trim out the ones that you want. I'm just going to do the magic in the air because it's on the top here. And then what I did was I just put a little brad in the end on the left side, and then I trimmed a little dove's tail on this side, and then place those wherever you like on your page. Okay, so we are done. I hope you enjoyed February Club Q, and we will see you next time. Thank you for being a member.